That would be a very, very healthy boost to farmers who produce soybeans and everybody who works in that supply chain.
Hello and welcome to this edition of the State of Soy. I'm Aaron Putzi and we're just outside of Shell Rock, Iowa. We're here at Shell Rock Soy Processing and I'm visiting with Corey Jorgensen, who serves as the CEO of the operations here. So first of all, maybe just set the stage, Corey. Since the plant has become operational, what kind of benefit has that been to local growers?
We're immediately a 40 million bushel demand boost to soybean consumption in the 50 to 100 mile radius around this plant. And so I just think basic supply and demand, that means that local farmers are going to get paid more for their soybeans, and we provide speed. So our truck dumping capacity is modern day. It's more than the crush plant that was built in the 70s or 80s. We provide great logistics. We provide access to a lot of different markets because of our association with what has been the Iowa Northern Railroad, is now the CN Railroad, which connects us to all the different class ones that can work for a site like this. So we give the farmer ultimately good access to soybean meal and soybean oil markets, which we hope brings the best value to them as well.
So you've been operational now for just a bit over 2 years. What kind of trends are you seeing? How has the operational side of the business evolved?
I mean, the physical operational side of the business that we do here and that our team is in control of every day has evolved really, really nicely. We've got a great team and the plant runs very, very well. The macroeconomic scene and the supply and demand scene for this industry has never been more interesting for those of us that have been around it for nearly 3 decades of my life, which is hard to believe.
So explore that a little bit. What are some of the issues that you're focused on that's keeping the industry interesting, but also as you look to the future, being able to grow this industry, again, to the benefit of the communities and the benefit of the soybean farmer?
So it's no secret that biofuels demand and the biofuels world of policy and investment and ability to supply against that investment is a big topic at the moment. I'll come back to that in just a second if I can, but I want to continue to talk about the 80% of the soybean that produces protein, that feeds chickens and it feeds hogs and it feeds cattle, it feeds our pets, it feeds increasingly aquaculture to produce healthy sources of protein for all of us consumers in the United States and consumers of protein around the world. We think that that's the 10 plus year story in this industry is easily as much about continued growth in protein demand as it is about veg oils, whether it be for food or for renewable fuels. Now, on the renewable fuels front, the policy world in that space has been topsy-turvy, uncertain, and now is tied up in an administrative changeover in Washington, D.C. that's really, really important for the short term and probably the midterm of this business and renewable fuels businesses. I'll say that 2 weeks ago, Reuters ran an article that indicates that EPA had meetings with an allied industry group that included energy and included agriculture and included ASA and included NOPA from our industry. And it sounds like the conversation was around establishing an RVO that matches the investment that's been made in our industry as a feedstock supplier and the energy industry as the producer of renewable fuels, whether that be here in Iowa with biodiesel capacity or out on the coast or down in the Gulf with the bigger renewable diesel plants. An RVO that matches the investment that's been made is the single most important thing that can happen. We're reasonably optimistic about what we're hearing on that front at the moment.
And it's really a win-win-win. I mean, you're talking about providing a very important domestic market for growers who then you convert that product into protein as well as oil that can also be used for energy, environmental benefits. Give me some of those numbers on the RVO and how the industry has maybe trended over the last 4 to 5 years.
The current RVO for 2025 for what we call D4 RINs, which is the biomass-based production of diesel, is just over 3.3 billion gallons. And we've seen the industry produce 4.3 billion gallons in 2023. And so there's clearly more capacity to do it. S&P Global did a feedstock study commissioned by NOPA that would suggest that 5.3 billion gallons is readily available today, and that number will grow to something above 6.5 billion gallons of feedstock availability without changing economics by 2030. So we think that the RVO that's been batted about in news stories that we've seen is somewhere above 5 billion gallons for D4s. That would be a very, very healthy boost to not only our industry, but to farmers who produce soybeans and everybody who works in that supply chain.
What are you seeing for the industry and for Shell Rock soy processing in the year, let's say, 2030?
The best way to think about that is that a robust biofuels program creates the opportunity for greater production of lower priced, healthy, nutritious protein to feed animals to ultimately produce food for human beings. So there's a very symbiotic relationship there that we're not sure that the entire market understands as well as we would hope that they would. I think that 5 years from now, we're pretty optimistic that that path will be laid in front of us and we'll be walking down that path and really proud of what we've done.
The work that we're doing takes collaboration, and it takes a team approach to really tackling some of these issues that have benefits for the planet and for people. Reporting for this edition of the State of Soy, I'm Aaron Putsey.
You know, everything starts with the land. We really respect farmers.
There's nothing that we cannot help a client with. So the brokerage, the management, the appraisal, and the investment are 4 pillars that really go so well together.
We work with a lot of really great people working incredibly hard to provide for their families, their community, and the country.